You've survived another week. Thank you for listening, downloading, and subscribing to the Black Man with a Gun Show. This week I got a conversation with Devin Perkins of Trench Work Chronicles. You know, the older I get, the more I realize that stuff is not as important as the people in my life. All this and more coming up next.
BlackManWithAGun.com, Ken Blanchard's Pro Gun Podcast.
But let's go back to the big Trench Work Chronicle dude. The guy that's been 2A in it for a minute. What's your story, man? How'd you get into this thing?
How did I get into this thing? Oh, man. This all started for me back in 2014. I actually have the receipt of when I bought my first gun. It was in 2014. I was living with my girlfriend at that time. I had started working night shifts as a referee, and she would be home and I wouldn't get home until 2:00 in the morning. So I bought a gun for her so she wouldn't be, by herself without any protection. From then I went to the range, I pulled the trigger, and I could truly say my life changed. Like, I was like, this is a level of relaxation I have never, ever felt. So, one, it became an immediate outlet of therapy for me because I also was dealing with a bunch of just deaths and just hard stuff that was going on in my family at the time. So I really isolated myself. Like, I moved away from everybody. I started a new job. And yeah, I think the first breakthrough that I really had was when I first pulled that trigger and heard that shot go off. And since then, it's been an addiction. From then, that grew into me like really wanting to understand like the nuance of gun ownership. And that's when I stumbled on to Maj Toure of Black Guns Matter. I literally remember the moment. I was at work, just messing around on my computer, and I was like, why is Richard Sherman wearing a Black Guns Matter shirt? And this was in the hype of, all of the Trayvon Martin, all of that stuff going on.
Right.
Maj looks just like Richard Sherman. He's a football player. And it wasn't him. So I just kept following the page. And then some of my boys, we were in a Bible study group, and we were all trying to just create a digital machine online to where we all had some sort of presence. And they told me to start with the gun stuff. So doing my research, I got turned on to Kevin Dixie, Hank Strange, and then I literally just became a student of the game. And I guess my first actual I don't even want to jump to that yet. All right. Then I went to a gun club meeting. It was weird because it was for 3%ers of all people in Northern Virginia, right? I met John Crump. He's the Virginia director for Gun Owners of America. He owns Black Swan Tactical. That's the media company that I'm a part of with him. What else does John do? He's a writer for AmmoLand. He does everything. He's an investigative journalist. Like right now, he's probably the hottest 2A journalist in the game, and he does amazing work. But I met him at that meeting, and after the meeting was over, he asked me what I wanted to do, and I think at that point was when I would try to start a podcast with a bunch of my homies just about different stuff. And I told him, I was like, that's really what I was interested in. And he told me that he had studio time and a way for me to start. So he was like, if you can come up with a show in a couple of weeks, we can get it off the ground. So I had my show ready in a week. We set up the date and I dropped. And yeah, we started. It was wild. We didn't even really start about talking about guns. We started with the culture. Me and my former co-host, we started breaking down the Willie Lynch letter and how it related to modern times in society today and how gun ownership tied into that. One thing that I guess has been instilled into me is that if we want this thing to live, we have to change the culture for it to be anything longevity. So I've always been focused on, since I was the youngest person, and I felt that like that was an issue, me being the youngest person, to figure out ways that I can highlight other people and bring up the next generation and, you know, just assist people to get the shine that they don't normally get. So that's what my podcast really was about, was translating information back to my community that doesn't normally get this information, while at the same time providing a platform for people who don't normally get the shine or get censored for what they have to say, and let them be as free and open as possible as they can. So that's what I've been doing for the past 3 years as far as the podcasting side goes. And then that graduated into what is now going to be my brainchild, and something that I'm really passionate about is mental health outreach with the youth. And the way this came from the gun world was I linked up with Mike Sedini from Walk the Talk America, and he wanted to do something to get into urban communities and Black communities. So when we met, I had the discussion with him, and I was like, well, have you ever thought about doing this? And he was like, well, yeah, but why don't you do it? We can just partner together and make it happen. And literally, we, from just writing down notes and sending them to him to giving my first presentation, Mike has been literally one of the biggest resources I've had. But yeah, that is really where I am now. I do a lot to just be an asset to the people that have opened doors for me. And so far that's worked. So yeah.
Name of your podcast that you've been doing it for 3 years is
Trenchwork Chronicles. It's on Blog Talk Radio. Honestly, it's kind of a boast, but it's really just because nobody else has anything close to the name. If you Google Trenchwork Chronicles, I'm the only thing that comes up. But yeah.
Where'd the name come from?
Honestly, it's what I believe is what I want to do. It's the get into the trenches, do the work, and tell the story. So Trenchwork Chronicles.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really it.
2A wise, you've been traveling a lot recently.
Whew, yeah. It's funny because during the lockdowns, I've traveled more than I ever have in my life. Literally ever. We've been to Dallas 2 or 3 times, Orlando 3 times. I've been to Atlanta like 4 or 5 times. No, I think 4. Philly 3, 4 times. Tennessee, everywhere. Yeah, we've been moving. Yeah, you know, just continuing the work that you started. You know,
Oh yeah.
trust me. Everywhere I go, you are always in the back of my mind. Like, all right, like it's you, it's Kevin Dixie, and it's Maj. Like, I have to make sure I represent them correctly when I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And I can't lie, sometimes I don't. Sometimes my personal issues get involved and I get outside of myself. But for the most part, I think I've done pretty well by you guys.
Man, the fact that you even moving and taking this stuff anywhere is already a plus for me. Because when I started in 91, I was the youngest guy and the only guy.
Right.
So I know exactly what you're talking about. And the line that I had to walk is different from the one you have because the times have changed. But I see the similarities. I was like, yeah, I know where he's at.
Yeah. Because I think I come and vent to you about the frustrations, specifically dealing with the organizations than anybody else. And every time you laugh at me, you tell me exactly what you told me before. I'm like, yeah, you were right. And then I go back and bang my head on the wall again. I don't know what it is. I feel like, all right, I guess I have to ask you, because when you were doing it, what was it that kept giving you hope for something that literally just never really wielded like the fruits that you should have gotten from it? You know what I mean? Like
the people.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like there wasn't a Kevin Dixie, there wasn't a Maj, there wasn't a Coleon, there was none of them cats. But who was there were folks that didn't want to be on camera, folks that didn't want to be on, because all that stuff was new. It wasn't even invented when I first started. Back then, it was just TV and radio. So if I said, all right, we just got a free invitation to go to the NRA range, who wants to go with me? And they were like, oh man, I want to go. This place it was like brand new. The building never even opened before. They were like inviting us there. Wow. And we were the first club in the joint, right? And then my issue with my people were, are they going to be filming this? Because we still had that thing with, I don't want to be on camera, man. I don't want anybody to see me with my piece. I don't want anybody to see me with my firearm. That's the culture we had, well, before now. Now we got Instagram, social media, everybody. So I was dealing with the covert brother that just didn't want to show his stuff, been owning for years. And that was a whole nother culture by itself too. We had brothers that had farms and shooting property, but it was only if they invite you. You wouldn't know they had it.
Wow.
So I would meet all the folks who have been carrying on our stuff undercover for centuries. Like I met the hunters. I met the like today you said 3%ers. I remember when I went to the Nation of Islam and I was trying to get a meeting with Minister Farrakhan, and then that had a whole bunch of issues. I mean, my job almost got me. Folks were scared of me. Then there was I've been in trouble like you ain't never seen. I had a foreign government after me for a minute. The real Zulus in South Africa wanted me to come over and teach. This right after apartheid had just stopped. So I was like right in the verge of either becoming a national hero or a terrorist. I mean, I'm on the cusp. And I was still working for the government, so I knew the score. I knew the deal. I knew what would happen to the government, to me, to my family, to the whole lifestyle. So I had to like change how I rolled.
That's whoa.
And it did mess my career up. I have a government position. I stayed in grade for 10 years.
Man.
Because folks just knew I was going to be gone. They would tell me that too. They would go, oh yeah, but we seen you in guns and ammo. So you're not going to be with us long. It's like, they ain't got nothing to do with this job right here. Or, well, we seen you on the news yesterday. It's like, but I didn't mention anything about my job. The black man with a gun was like my pseudonym. I mean, it was just a whole different person, even though I had it on the back of my truck and reflective lettering. Folks was like, I can't believe that guy. Because the black people back then that were pro-gun, all were undercover. So they would see me and like, dude, you trying to get lynched? I was like, nah, it ain't like that. It's the 90s, y'all. We can actually do this. This has like been okay for a minute.
And that's crazy because like, it's like, no, it's literally the exact opposite. If somebody tries to lynch me, they're going to die. Like, it's that simple.
And everybody, all the free people knew that.
Was that the aftermath of just Black people being criminalized and demonized for so long through the crack era, Jim Crow, and so on?
Yeah. So, go ahead.
What? Because I wasn't there. So was it not like the Black Panthers seemed like they were a strong force? Obviously, we know the history of that turning into the gangs that we have now, but like, was that the only resilient, like, ready to fight back type of movement that was there? Because outside of that,
oh no,
like, I just don't see the roots anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I always wanted to ask you, like, when you were my age, who was you to me? Like, or who were, you know what I mean?
Okay, I got that. There was a lot of dudes that never made it into the papers, but I would meet them when I traveled. They were the old hunters. They were the vets. They were the cops from back in the day. Because there was only like certain people that society will allow you to be a gun person. So, and every country family had that one hunter guy that if something happened, they would say, "Oh yeah, Uncle Buddy will go get you." Well, why is Uncle Buddy? Because he was the only one that was armed, and he had like a pass by the family. And then these guys, historically, were all vets, same as now. Were law enforcement, same as now. They were gun owners, and back in the day, you come back from a tour, you bring your pistol, your rifle back with you. It wasn't the same. I mean, you could actually buy stuff over the in the mail, and the hunters, everybody down south. My grandmother had a pistol.
Right.
These people, we dogged each other because the laws were so constricting that if you want to be a good guy, you're not going to be a gun guy. So you can own it, but don't tell nobody you got it. And I'd say the groups were still like the Deacons of Defense. There was tons of folks in North Carolina, Louisiana.
That's like my favorite story, Deacons of Defense. I love that story.
Yeah, all them guys was packing. You got the there was Panthers for days. There was so many chapters of Panther people that, like, my neighbor was one, and he's about 10 years my senior. And before they got into like FBI trouble, their chapters were pretty strong, and they were teaching self-reliance. And I did that. The first gun club I had was amazing because I wasn't ready for it. I had the driver and one of the housekeepers for the Nation of Islam for Malcolm X in my club, and they owned a catering service. Now they were like old cats, but they taught us how to can food, how to prepare stuff. So we had this survival thing going on along with shooting. And I had these college cats that super intelligent. It was like 5 groups of people within our culture that were pro-gun, and I identified with them, grabbed them, kept them together. But it was work, man. It was work. I thought being a pastor was hard, but I wasn't ready to even be a pastor back then. So it was prepping me for what was coming, because if I had become a pastor or was in ministry before all of that, I'd have been able to handle the people. But I was like intimidated because I had like people, everybody was older than me, but I was in charge, and it was really funky. You go into a range. This is how it was in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. It got so bad in the late 90s that if more than like 5 Black people come to the range, they said they were mine. People would go, "Hey, Ken, I seen some of your folks come to the range." I'm thinking, really? Oh yeah, I think the 10th Cavalry was here. And I was like, okay, thank you. I got credit for like all Black people going to the range. It was weird, dude, but that's where we came from. Wow. It's totally different from now, though. Now you can't even tell. You can't even tell.
Man, that's crazy. I mean, I guess I understand. I just was like, I remember when you said that you were retiring, I was like, no, like this is not the time, because
I'm tired.
And I get it, because one thing is, everybody speaks as highly of you as possible, right? So one thing I always wanted to ask you as well is, how do you manage, and I guess it's kind of the same question, but like, how did you manage dealing with people not understanding how forward or successful your ideas actually were for them? Because that's my biggest issue now, is that these organizations claim that they want to do outreach. They claim that they want to, get involved in different demographics. You tell them the cost of what that's going to be. And yeah, it's like, oh, nah, we're not with that. But then you're like, okay, this can't be about economics because Black women are the highest growing and fastest growing demographic of gun owners right now. Black people in general are the number one consumers of anything right now. We also set the trends for anything fashionable, anything modern, anything that the youth is following. Why wouldn't you jump into that demographic to start winning back the PR of what your stance is? The PR for gun owners suck. The organizations have to know that by now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like, how did you deal with like knowing that there would be Maj, KD, Noir?
I didn't.
You didn't.
I didn't see you guys coming.
Really?
I just thought I'll just keep plucking along until I'll know when to quit. That was my thing. Because I would have never named it Black Man with a Gun if I thought it was ever gonna be more people. Like I thought, all right, this is gonna be like only for a little while and I'll quit, but it kept going. And then I met like the coolest white people in this thing, which totally messed me up because I was expecting a lot of pushback. And that's where all my support came from. I only got beat up by black people and churches and the government. And then and the so that flipped my whole script. So I'm thinking, all right, I'll just do this until I'm tired. And when I'm tired, I'm gonna quit. And then I watched as the internet blew up and social media blew up, and I started seeing more and more brown skinned people. And I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm done. I ain't got to do nothing. Y'all got this. It's going to be a piece of cake now. I see y'all doing stuff like, it's funny though. There's like, the stages of it, right? There's like, hooray, son of a bee. How'd he do that? Or then you get like it's like a jealous part too. Cause you're like, man, that MF, I tried that. It didn't work. And then you got to get back into yourself like, nah, it's all good. As long as one get there, we all get there. And so it's a growth thing. I had that too. Because everything I've seen, let me see. Yeah, everything I've seen, I've either done it or tried it, probably failed at it. And I feel like a mountain man, like Grizzly Adams. And now everybody, y'all got civilization, and I'm still in the hills, right? I got the beard. I'm just coming down from the hills, and I come down. It's like, damn, they got trains now. I had a mule. That's all I got. So I have to watch my own self, because y'all doing it.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that like this is what I say. This is why I have to give you pushback for the whole retiring thing. Yes, we are doing it. But if you notice with any other demographic, right, the elders are still, and not to say that you aren't, but they're still there guiding and not necessarily controlling, but somewhat making sure that the standard is still being met. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that I feel like you are very, very balanced with and are the best person to do that because you've done everything. Like you said, everything you've seen, you've done already. You know what I mean? And when because nothing really came of it. But when you told me that you were going to start your own organization, I was the most excited I had been in this entire in my time of doing anything, because I was like, yes, this is going to be it. I told Maj was with it. Like, I was like, this is it. Like, this is what we have been waiting for. And to this day, I know people around my age who say like, yeah, like I wish there was a different type of like organization, not even necessarily all black, just like headed by the right people that understand how to get this done. You know what I mean? Not an extremist saying that, like we need to take up and start a race war. You know what I mean?
Because they out
and
there.
Not people. And oh yes, they are. They are. Like you said, we get beat up by black people more than white people.
Yeah.
And it's the craziest thing in the world. But yeah, people that just get it. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's enough of us now with the knowledge and understanding of how to get it done for us to come together and do it. And we are, you know what I mean? I actually was a part of a meeting this weekend. I mentioned it to you that is going to be doing that, but
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to give people their flowers
Thank you.
when they're doing it. And
Thanks.
if it's anybody that deserves it, it's you. Especially because I remember when first time I ever came to you and was like, yo, I'm looking for a female to get involved with. You sent me Antonia Okafor, who was like verified. And as soon as I dropped your name, she was like, oh yeah, we can work together. I was like, wow, okay. Like, and it was out of nowhere. But like, that's why I say whenever I do anything, I always mention the people that have opened doors for me and have always been a resource for me, because y'all have done such substantial things that like I have to give that respect. You know what I mean? I can't say that I'm thinking of anything original, because any idea that I come up with is basically a cherry pick off of y'all's, just rebranded. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's all about timing. It's all about timing. Sometimes I'm always reminded about that doggone ATM machine, man. When the ATM came out, nobody wanted to get their money to no machine. We fought that thing. We was like, well, I want a real person. Now it's just the opposite. I got to go to a bank and talk to a real person. Where's the machine at? It took 10 years for that to happen.
Wow.
And I was here. I remember it. So like now I see the same thing where people who don't like going to the Target and doing that self-pay thing. They hate that. The old people be in the line. They ain't going to the thing. It's the exact same thing. So I have to make sure that I check myself, because I'm like getting into the old people group, and some of my stuff is like hesitant. It's like, oh man, stop. You wasn't that old all the time.
You're not old now. And really, it's just a matter, and we talk about this all the time, it's just making sure that that gap in generations isn't a thing anymore. You know what I mean? That's actually something that I'm going to be attempting to work with one of them organizations with now, is getting them to highlight the literally, like, from you to my boy who's now becoming one of the more known videographers amongst us. He's 22 years old, and I want them to come up with something to highlight that entire timeline from you to him. You know what I mean? And make sure that it's known, like, yo, we have been doing this for a long time, and there are people in this game that deserve the respect and the rewards that, you know, that they deserve.
Man, that's huge, but
we'll see if it happens.
It's all good. It's all good. Talking about the now, what happened over the weekend? You went down to Atlanta again. What you do?
The weekend. This was honestly, it was my birthday weekend, and it was.
Oh yeah, honestly, we got the same birthday.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Which makes it even better.
I know, right?
It was the best birthday I've had. I went to Atlanta. I participated in Kevin Dixie's his NOC Evolve 1 pistol class, which now I learned that when he means evolve, he literally means like you can take that class 3 different times, and it's going to be a different class all 3 times.
Okay.
You're going to cover the same principles and, you know, fundamentals, but it's going to be in different practices every single time, which I love, which, you know, encourages me to train even more in that level of class, because, you know, fundamentals is really it when it comes to shooting. You know what I mean? You master the fundamentals and then the tactics build onto those. But yeah, I got to work with him in a pretty decent class of people. That was amazing. Then right after that, we went to Tactical Tangerine's concealed carry fashion show, and it was inspiring, refreshing, innovative. I mean, I can't speak any highly like that event. It literally re-energized me, because one, my homie Tangi, she's a ball of energy. Like
Nice.
it got to a point where I think it like almost rained it out. And because of how energetic and the social butterfly she is, you couldn't have told like no one's attitude, no one's energy, nothing was low because she just made sure everything was cool. So yeah, it was amazing beginning to end. And also, like I said, innovative. I've never seen this done before in the gun community where this many black people, this many black gun owners came together just for something social and fun like this. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't anything tactical. It wasn't anything,
That's how we roll.
military, police, anything like that. It literally, you could equate this to a family reunion with a fashion show as like the main event. And
That's cultural.
it
That's
was
us.
amazing. Yeah.
That's how we roll.
Right. And it wasn't even, it wasn't even just all black people. There were white people there too. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was all love. It was all fun. And I think everybody there saw how great of an event it was and immediately told her at the end of it or during it that whatever you need for the next one, let us know because we're going to pour as much resources as we can into this to make sure that this is a staple and continues to grow.
Is she out of Atlanta too?
Yeah, she is.
Okay.
She's out of Atlanta. Yeah, she actually crossed over from the cannabis industry.
Okay.
And it was really because she said that she had to fight the ATF on the other side as well. So she was like, and this is a conversation that me and her had, and I think it's very prominent in an area that the gun world needs to start opening their minds to is how the cannabis industry was managed to go from reefer madness and weed making the white girls want to sleep with the black jazz musicians to it now being taught about in schools. You can get a degree and open up a shop in Virginia of all states. You know what I mean? Like there's a level and just a strategic PR move that they did to make this thing a socially acceptable thing. And I haven't even necessarily figured out what it was exactly yet, but I feel like it's there and I feel like the gun world can use it. You know what I mean? And
it's money. It takes money to do the PR like that. But once you have it,
that's true. It
then
does.
it's lobbying, it's marketing, and it's like money intensive.
And one thing that, and I feel like this may come from that good old boys club that they just don't want to acknowledge is star power. Like you get somebody out there that is prominent about guns, I feel like that cultural acceptance is going to start changing. And, the John Wick movies are cool. The Michael B. Jordan movies are cool. But, like, I was talking to somebody, I think I was talking to Hank Strange about this. I was like, we really need a Second Amendment movie, not a civil rights movie, not a tactical movie, a Second Amendment movie. You know what I mean? And I feel like that would really help change the culture. That's one thing that I'm focused on right now as well is trying to do high level productions of anything that I can put on a screen that helps change the perception of a gun owner.
Good idea, because, man. Good deal.
I mean, one, that's where everything is. Everything's on
tiny
these
screens.
Things. You know what I mean? Everything that people want to see or hear, read about is on these things now. Yeah. So it's like we kind of have to go there. And dealing with these old organizations is the struggle every single time because I'm looking at the next generation. They're kind of like
trying to maintain and not lose what they got.
And it's like, yo, if you really want to invest and make this thing long term, that young kids are the ones that are going to be the ones to make sure that happens. And we're seeing that on the other side. You know what I mean? The organization that I went to and fought against was March for Our Lives. That is literally an organization, all kids, supported by older people, but it's basically all kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where is the Second Amendment community or industry's version of that? We don't have it. And it's like, I mean, if you want to know where you can win, look at where you're losing. And where are we losing? We have the facts. We have the history on our side. What are we missing? The PR, the message. We got to change that.
One of the things
Or
that you
don't.
do different is the networking. You network like I never seen. You're on.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
I see you like cross pollinating. You're like on everybody's flower. You're on different channels. You're on different things. If you were doing this and somebody was paying for you, you'd have a serious budget because you doing drive time stuff. They'd be flying you. But since it's and you can never outbeat a volunteer, and you crushing it on that end, and it's evident. They pay people for the stuff that you do for other people.
That's what everybody keeps telling me.
Oh, it's true.
And they keep telling me I need to be getting paid for this, but like, I don't know how to put a price on being a foot soldier for something that I just believe in. You know what I mean?
You can't beat a volunteer. You can't beat that. Disciple man is like unreal.
It's hard. It's hard because it's the balance. I know, like, how do you balance maintaining a real life while also trying to do a good thing?
Cause.
Yeah, that's technically a losing fight. Like, we're losing in this fight. And I can see where, we can win, but like, when the people who have the power to win don't want to listen to the winning solutions, it's like, why am I wasting my time? You know what I mean? And I don't know. I'm gonna just keep doing it because I have to. I think this is the only good thing about pride with me is that you're not just going to get me to give up on anything like that. And even when I do give up, it's a matter of like, all right, it's just waiting for another time for it to, peak, and then we're going back at it again. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know why I'm ranting right now.
No, ranting's good. Where's the next thing? Where are you going next?
Where am I going next? I'm actually going back to Atlanta soon for another business meeting to keep growing this thing, keep getting better at what we've already been doing and doing it with the right people more than anything. I'm actually not allowed to talk about a lot of that meeting, but
it's all good.
Like I told you, it's something that you of all people would be extremely proud of. Extremely proud of.
Nice.
And it's what we need more than anything.
Okay.
Other than that, I know we have the Solutionary Summit coming up in Miami, September 3rd through the 5th. That's something else that's I could say I'm pretty proud of that we started. Maj Toure, myself, and Rhonda Mary decided to start our own basically black CPAC. And I can't even say black because, everybody's included, but we're the heads of it. And really what we want to do.
That's the best name ever, though. That Solutionary thing. That's like
Solutionary Summit.
No, just the name. The Solutionary period is like, damn, that's good.
Funny about the summit? So Maj is on this whole I'm gonna retire and move to the shadows type thing, right? Right, yeah. So now I have to deal with both of y'all saying that. So while he was doing that, when we first started planning this out, we wanted to call it the Black Free Agency Summit, but one of our homies owns the name Black Free Agency, so we didn't want to, step on any toes and, anything like that. So it was coming down to crunch time, and I was like, yo, we're just going to call this thing the Solutionary Summit. And he fought me for a good 3 weeks about not naming it that, just because he didn't want to be the face of it. and wanted other people to, start taking the reins and being the face so he could fall back. And just like you, I'm like, what do you like? This is the perfect name for this. Like, what do you mean? There is nothing better than solutions and what we're doing with it. I was like, it's perfect. And yeah, it was hilarious. Like, everybody loves it. It literally rolls off the tongue. Like, I couldn't have thought of a better name. And it was that easy. You know what I mean? And yeah, that was just that funny story about the name. Like, he really fought me for a while about that. And I was like, nah, we gotta do that. But yeah,
that's cool.
That is literally, we went to a bunch of the TPUSAs, the CPACs. We went to all those type of events, right? And we just noticed that as cool and flashy as they are, they're not very interactive with the people that they claim they're trying to get these messages to. So what we did was we started our own. It consists of panels and presentations. And I guess one of the unique things is that every panel and presenter has to do a Q&A. So they present and then they have to answer to the people in the crowd. You know what I mean? So it's not a matter of you just getting up there and spitting some rhetoric and jumping off the stage and getting your, back pats and all of that. Nah, like, you say something that doesn't necessarily make sense, somebody's probably going to question you on it. And we established that, this is a safe space for growth and conversation, but you're probably going to get challenged. You know what I mean? Respectfully, but you're going to get challenged because that's what we're here to do. We're here to sharpen the iron, get better, and present solutions. So yeah, this year I guess our main theme is hip hop and politics, and we're gonna talk about everything from the taboo of gun ownership and hip hop to how hip hop is contributing to politics and culture as a whole. Yeah, I'm kind of like a cultural auditor. That's what I'm really starting to think of myself, and I don't think that's a boastful position to be in. I just feel like I'm really, really honest. And I have enough people. And the only reason why I can say that is because I have enough people like you, like Maj, like KD, that will literally call me on any of my BS immediately with no filter. KD will call me if he sees anything online that's questionable. If I get a text message that says "Amen," or I get a phone call and that's the first words he say, I know I'm in trouble for something. You know what I mean? When you hit me with the Bible memes or the Bible verses, I'm like, all right, I know I've done something, so let me figure out what I've done to correct whatever it is. But yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have enough of the team around me to be able to say that, yeah, like, the power and transparency is why I can say that I'm pretty honest and can audit when people just aren't being genuine about what they want to do. And yeah, I can't stand by and watch that. I'm going to call it out, but I never want to be somebody that just calls it out and doesn't present a solution as well. So that's why I say auditor, because yeah, I'm trying to get this right. You know what I mean? And
that's a giant goal, and you're doing good, man. Because nobody's ever tried to be accountable for their mess. They just say it, drop the mic, and walk off. So to stand there and go, "What do you mean that's wrong?" That's different. That's a change, right by itself.
Do you remember the faces that you used to get from like people in higher positions in organizations when you told them stuff like directly that it wouldn't work? Like, this idea, like, not to say like in the exact words, but this idea is stupid, and like, I don't know why y'all even thought about this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is about people in their titles, but I've always told people, like, once you clock out of your job and you're on the streets with everybody else, nobody knows what you are and nobody cares what you are. You're a regular person. So you need to act and respect people in that same manner, regardless.
That's always been the case, but it hasn't been in practice.
Ever.
We have I can name probably 2 or 3 things that an organization basically stole from me in a meeting. Like, I'm at a meeting they invited me to, they made me a part of this committee, and then they writing down because they got secretary minute notes. Oh, that's not a bad idea. I said, yeah, we should do that. All right, when meeting is adjourned, everybody shake hands, go out to dinner, and then the next couple of months, you see these things roll out as giant programs that you know where it came from. You're like, oh, damn, that's just wrong.
Yo, all right, this is exactly where I am right now. Like right now, this is where I am. And this is why, again, I have to say thank you to people like you who experienced this before me, because now I have an outlet of people and a collective group of people that I don't really have to deal with those organizations anymore. You know what I mean? I can go to my big brothers and be like, hey, they don't want to do this. I want to do this. Can y'all help me do this? And most of the time it's a yes. You know what I mean? And this isn't just black people. This is black people, white people.
Yeah, that's the
people
cool part. That's the cool part right now.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, it's crazy how that works. And I just don't understand, like, what makes you think that you leaving me out of the idea is going to make the idea flourish? Because you can try, but like, there's a reason why I came up with the idea and you have to now try to carbon copy it. And another question I have to ask is, how do you present these ideas without them doing that? Or is that just always going to be the risk?
No, now I know better. But at first, I have to watch where I'm at. Like, I was just down for the cause. I wanted everybody to be accepted. I wanted everybody to get in. I wanted to, you going for the altruistic goal. You want everything to be like pure. Nothing hurts you if you're pure. That kind of idea. But don't go that route. Now you gotta be careful with the company that you keep, and you gotta vet people.
It's
sucks.
Yeah. And then people get mad when you keep a small circle, and it's like, well, I mean, I have to protect this intellectual property. Like, I have to at this
That's
point.
what it is. That's what it is. And
And
now
then
is it more important?
You almost feel guilty because, like, you have to hold them accountable for, like, and it really just comes down to, like, yo, you have the resources. You say you want to do this, but you don't give out the resources. Like, that's one thing that I have to keep reminding myself that is the actual argument, because I hate having to go against people that I genuinely want to see succeed, but like, they're literally acting against their best interests.
Yeah, they don't want success. They don't want it. They don't want to see it, because then they would lose power. They would lose something. They're not quite sure what they're going to lose, but they think they're losing something, so they don't give you.
Right. And I think at my most frustrating point, I was like, okay, this is starting to look like the pharmaceutical industry. Like, do you guys want to keep gun control like afloat so you can keep, quote unquote, fighting it?
Yes.
So you can keep selling fear to people.
Bingo.
So they can keep donating to your machine so you can keep your job.
There you go. That's the secret.
Yeah, because everybody that I know personally says the same thing. Is like, at the end of the day, if in my perfect world, we don't have to do this. To them, I don't think that's the same thing. I think they like posturing and being told that they're the head of this, this, and this. And it's like, that's cool. Like, you're 45 years old. You have 100,000 followers on Instagram. You get flown everywhere to speak. Cool. There's a TikToker who's 17 years old that goes viral every single day for doing a dance, that has twice your following, gets paid twice as much, gets flown everywhere that you actually want to go, and doesn't have a job anymore. You're not that important, dude. Like, your popularity is not that big. You need to calm down. You know what I mean? Like,
but we get stuck in groups. Like my group started off with the pyramid, where there's only like one person at the top. Where you're at right now, you're in the ellipse, where everything's like side to side, and the shapes are totally different. So depending on where you are as that pyramid turned and became like, level, is your comfort level, but everybody ain't there yet. So maturity and age don't go together.
No, it does not.
So some of that stuff just happens. And I was militant as hell when I first started. And I had to undo my culture.
Really?
Yeah.
You and militant do not like.
I know.
Nah, what?
Totally don't fit, right? The world did it to me. I wasn't even trying, but that was my fallback. That was my safe spot. So when I see folks that are like all black, fatigued up, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna do this, I'm thinking, yeah, you got to grow. That was me back in the day. You got to go past that right there.
Right.
You be by yourself for a while, but there's a lot of people that you can build if you do that. They'll follow you. It's like energizing. They'll like, oh yeah, I see that. You get a mass group of people, but then you won't, as a group, won't go nowhere.
Right.
And that's the only problem with our movement. You can be a huge fish in a small pond.
Yep.
And I want to be an ocean.
Right. I want this to be a cultural thing. Like I don't want it to be a niche anymore. Like it doesn't need to be a niche anymore. You know what I mean?
That's when I grew. When I grew and I was out of my little zone, and I thought, I got the whole world. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
There's no rules.
And this was one of the times where I was not very articulate in my thoughts, but I was like, do not constrain me to being a part of this quote unquote black gun community. And people took that so wrong. And I was like, I mean,
you were too far for them. They weren't ready for
that. Yeah. And I was just like, I'm not, because what I was seeing, right? I was seeing a lot of people just trying to do or be the black version of what white people were already doing. And I was like, dog, that's not innovative. Like, that's not new. That's not like, who's really going to be able to like relate to that? You can be as militant as you want. Is a single mom who wants to buy a gun to protect her kids going to be able to relate to you while you're sitting here screaming about the white man and what you're ready to do to him? Like,
yeah, that ain't working.
Is she really going to be able to take you serious?
Yeah, that ain't working.
It's not. Like, we have to really start being able to look in the mirror and be honest with ourselves. Like, are we really waiting for North Korea? Or are we preparing for that time when there's an unexpected threat that you actually have to neutralize? Like, which one is really a thought? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And which one do you really have to be worried about? It's funny. It's funny to see how people just like to be in character now.
Yeah.
But
it's easier.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's like the bad part of, like, I love what social media is. Like, it has its downfalls, and obviously we're one of the first societies to actually have to acclimate ourselves to it. And I think we're going to get better at it as, generations grow with it. Like, there are kids that are being born into an era of like facial recognition on phones. That's crazy. You know what I mean? So they're going to be used to this type of stuff. So they'll be better at it than us who had to get used to it. You know what I mean?
It was it was a secret program when it first came out.
Right. Like it was in movies.
Yeah.
It was in movies and labs and everything else. Now you go to a prepaid Cricket store and you can get it on the cheapest Android.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It was highly classified 30 years ago. Now it's like nothing.
Yeah, and it's just, I am excited and concerned to see where because it's a time where information is at your tips. So it's like, who's going to actually take advantage of it and not just get caught up in the vanities of it? And I feel like a lot of the gun world gets caught up in the vanities and, like you said, the small circles and echo chambers. And it's like, yo, I don't think y'all get it. Nobody cares about you. Like, nobody cares.
That was probably one of my posts. I don't know, 10 years ago. I said, you know
and
what?
It's still true.
Like nobody cares about my opinion. That's why I was screaming. I was so mad.
I just remember, like, when we see these organization events, right? We see the same people speaking at them all the time. Meanwhile, Bun B just had to shoot somebody in the face a year ago or so to save his wife. He went on the Breakfast Club and talked about that. Which gun organization reached out to him to get involved with him? Exactly. Judge Joe Brown showed me his gun collection on his phone. I asked him because I was like, you're probably a little bit older than you. You know what I mean? I was like, he probably knows him somehow. I was like, has any gun organization like ever reached out to you to work? He was like, never. I was instantly frustrated. I was like, this makes no sense to me. Like, and I'm sitting here thinking, like, all right, they literally could have had Ken Blanchard and Judge Joe Brown on a freaking TV show back in the day. Like, what is going on? Like, why do these organizations do this?
Well, one of the things about
it can't be based off of research.
We won't play what they want to say.
Uncontrollable. Yeah.
Yep. That part right there will cancel you right out. It's like, we don't know what that joker might do. He might start preaching Jesus on this thing. He might tell this person right here that it's okay. And no, we can't have that.
Don't be uncontrollable and talk about Jesus at the same time.
Yeah, man.
Boy.
And
I lose followers all the time for that.
And Judge Joe Brown is the same. That joker
he
speaks his piece. So that's why we ain't on it. You have to fit in the narrow grooves because they want you to be the cartoon or the caricature, and then you're safe. If you come out of that box, you can't do it.
But then they'll email you, they'll call you, they'll invite you to dinners and ask you about your opinion and ask you about what do you think we should do? I think you should pay me for these ideas from now on since you keep doing this. Like, no. And like, that's where I feel bad right there. Is that exact moment is like, yo, like, you're going to have to start paying me for this stuff. You know what I mean?
That's when the phone stopped ringing for me. I was you. I was cranking it. I was chasing influencers. I was meeting with people. I remember going to Tennessee one time and it was a range event at an undisclosed location. Had to use a GPS to get there. And I got to this joint. And
I literally did that 2 weeks ago.
I know it. As soon as you said Tennessee, I'm thinking this dude is just like my twin. We in the same thing. So I went to this event and I crawled up this hill. And as soon as I got to the top of a hill, this dude was riding a Panzer tank with a Nazi helmet on. And then
what?
Yeah. And then next to him was like a sidecar with a motorcycle with like 50 cal, all with like Nazi paint stuff all over it. And then it's like walk down to this thing. It was about a mile of ranges, and each pit was different time period. There was like the Revolutionary War, folks, the Civil War people, World War I, the World War II. That's where the Nazi dudes was at. And it was like it went all the way down to the Israeli tactical folks that I was going to visit, and the German dude didn't no eye contact. But I'm thinking, I'm packing, but I ain't got nothing that can carry what he just got and he just rode by with. So I'm all on Jesus time right now.
Yeah.
So I got there and this dude was like, oh man, I'm glad you made it. I was like, dude, did you see the guy with the tank? And they're like, yeah, don't take no pictures of him. He owns this place and he puts this whole thing on for us every year. And he gets to play Nazi or whatever. And I'm thinking, only in America. But the gun world, that's part of our thing. And everybody was cool. I told my wife that and she almost passed out. She was like, I can't believe you went there on your own, blah, blah, blah. So Yeah, I know.
It's crazy, man.
Ain't nothing changed. You doing
It's
it?
that's funny. Yeah, we literally did that about a week ago. That's funny. We
it ain't changed.
Man,
people change. Stuff is still happening. It's all good.
It is. So like, all right, you said you can quit because you see that we're doing it now, but you also say that things aren't going to change. So from your point of view,
with me, they're not changing with me. I think I've been the most as what's the word, as successful as I can get. I run the end of my thing. Like there's only so many people. We still got the age thing, where everybody over a certain age, you're like, oh, that dude don't know nothing. So when you get that pushback in a conversation, or you're trying to do something and people like shut you down, after a while you go, okay, I don't have to talk. See, like you're probably one of the few guys that I can actually call and they answer, and then that whole respect thing, it ain't with everybody. Some people are intimidated by me and I haven't done anything. They're like, don't even want to.
Wow.
I don't get invited to squat. I'm in the same spot I've been for 30 years. I ain't hard to find.
At all.
No.
That's true. You're not.
So there's a reason. So it's like, okay, I'm not that guy anymore. And that's cool.
Man, that's crazy. Because I definitely view you as that guy. Like,
you're the only one. Everybody else,
I'm not though. Like, we had this conversation,
it, but it don't go no further than that.
We had this conversation the other day. I was like, nah, that's Master Splinter. Like,
yeah.
He's the one that raised the Ninja Turtles. Yeah, for sure.
The Yoda dude is 900 years old. Yeah, that's me. But every culture has that, and I'm happy with that. And every journey, every history, every hero story, there's a wizard.
Right.
I'm that dude. Yeah. The mystical dude, the guy you get the secret from, whatever, the long bearded guy. Every story got one.
Okay. I can understand that. Yeah. I could say I look at you like Moses, and like Maj is more of a Joshua.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you got us there out of the wilderness. Now he's gonna take on all the fights. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With Ken Scott and Kevin Dixie right next to him. You know what I mean? I actually had to tell somebody that not too long ago, is that like, we see what this could be, but we also have to understand that since we are, even myself, like, since we're still the first generations coming up, we're not really going to see the benefit and the fruits of what we're doing.
Yeah, you are.
Our fruits.
Because I did.
Really?
You're it.
Yeah, exactly.
Lodge is it. Katie is it.
Right.
All the fashion show, the whole fashion show thing, I'm just smiling because I was the only black dude in the 2 fashion shows I was in. I've been in. There was concealed carry, and they had to squeeze them in between other events. They weren't like,
wow,
our own thing.
Oh no, it was it. Yeah.
And I never forget the time I said, I forgot where I was, but they gave me the microphone and I said, I always wanted to get an Olympic shooter to the biathlon. I want to see a young brother or sister skiing down a mountain shooting a high performance rifle. I said, we're going to change the sport. I said, it would be a finesse thing. It'd be so cool to watch. And then, you know what I heard? Crickets. The room went quiet. I'm thinking, okay, they ain't seeing, they ain't listening to me. But you don't hear me though. It's like, okay, y'all don't want that to happen. I can see that. Moving on.
I don't, man. Yeah.
Got to know when to hold them, when to fold them. Man, but I appreciate you. I know I held you a minute. I'm surprised this thing is still recording, because usually the clock would have stopped me by now.
My camera just did something really weird. Can you still see me?
Yeah.
Oh, no. What just happened?
Still recording.
My screen it feels like it went out.
No, you're still there.
Uh-oh. Something ain't right.
But I'm gonna cut it short. And how can folks reach you if they want to contact you?
All social media platforms, Trenchwork Chronicles. If you want to help out with the Urban Youth Mental Health Organization, look up Kids the Kings on Instagram and go to that link for the GoFundMe in that bio. Yeah, that's really it. Like I said, no bragging, but if you just Google Trenchwork Chronicles, I'm the only thing that comes up. So
Good
yeah.
Deal. Good deal.
And anywhere,
thank you, man.
Anywhere commenting on your stuff as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's it.
It's all good. Well, until the next time, I need some updates on life and what the younger folks are doing. I will call you.
Oh, hey, you gonna get them updates whether you call me or not. I'm gonna call you.
Word.
But yeah, we'll be in touch for sure. Like I said, I'm about to start working on that project to make sure that we highlight this timeline of what we've been doing. You know what I mean? And you're somebody that's definitely gonna be somebody who gets their flowers if I can make this thing happen. But thank you for having me on the show. This is amazing. I went from interviewing you to being interviewed by you. So yeah, this is awesome for me.
It's a long time coming. It's like, I should just call this dude. Yeah. Stop jiving. Like my dad used to tell me, stop jiving.
Hey.
That's one word that ain't come back.
Ironically, it is going to come back. It's coming back. It is. All of those words are.
I know,
it's
right?
Crazy. Yeah. It's coming back. But yeah.
That's too funny. All right, Devin. Thank you, man.
I forgot how cool it was to talk to somebody. I know that sounds crazy, right? But I'm usually down here in the basement doing my thing. Just in case you didn't know, I wrote this book in 1999. And it's a story behind the book itself. I was paying homage to the last person that wrote a book about guns before me, which is in 1968, Negroes with Guns. So I was going to do an updated version, Black Man with a Gun. That's part of the story. Even got a famous photographer that took the picture with me with the MP5, H&K, and the flag is backwards in distress, which was an accident, actually. And the new version came out in 2014, Black Man with a Gun Reloaded. Pastor now, I wasn't in ministry back then. I was the janitor at a church, actually. Another long story. But if you've been following me, you know these things, right? And you can get this one on Amazon. The other one is out of print. It's an updated version of the original. So Black Man with a Gun on Amazon. If you don't have it, tell a little bit about myself, about the struggle that I had with the government agency that I was working with, and I was still trying to be 2A. And what's cool about this book here is in the back of it, there is a glossary of frequently used terms in the 2A movement for all gun owners. And as segregated and separated as our world is today, we aren't that far from where we used to be either. We had a nice period where everybody was just getting along a little bit better. And the same thing is happening now, but you can't tell by the media. I've come a long way. I'm still growing, doggone it. I don't know about you. Just in case nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Until next time, you either see me or hear me. Check out BlanchardNetwork.com for all our shows. Shalom, baby.
Until next time, friends.
To keep in touch with Ken and his cause, head over to blackmanwithagun.com.